Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your SolidWorks. I have mine set down here on my starter table, whatever this is, starter bar. I'm going to ignore that. I don't think it'll impact anything. Okay, anyway, so this is going to be how everything starts. You're going to be able to open up a part file, assembly file, or a drawing file. To get everything started, essentially, we're just going to be doing the basics in part files. And then eventually I'll make more videos talking about assemblies or drawings. So understanding the basics, first things first, I do like to get rid of this tab over here once everything loads. The way that I get rid of it is just by pressing anywhere on the white screen, and it collapses the menu. Also, I'm going to add a overlay right here so that way you guys can see exactly what buttons I'm pressing. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is always start off by knowing where you are oriented. So I like to make these planes visible. You just click on them and then press show. Once you find your planes, it'll tell you on the bottom left corner if you are in a standard view or if you're in a non-standard view. So if you press down the middle mouse button, if we're in a non-standard view, I'm going to be looking at it like this. It'll just show how we are oriented down here at the bottom. And then, in order to get to a standard view, you can press this button right here, View Orientation, and then it takes you to this kind of this state where you can select the plane. So we can select this top face right here. We can select this edge, corner, and then it'll tell you the name of the view on the right in that little white box. This one's the front view, right view. This one right here is going to be the top view when you look at it like that. And then you could also select it from here. And your standard views are going to be found right here. So you have isometric, dimetric, and trimetric. Trimetric is the one that we start with when you open up SolidWorks. Isometric is the one that everybody uses in the engineering world. Dimetric, I don't even know what this looks like. Like that, I suppose. And then the keyboard shortcut to get to your isometric views by pressing Control 7. And then it automatically goes back. And then if you press the control keys, yeah, you have to hold down Control and then press your 1, 2, and 3, and that'll allow you to go to your front view. What is this? Back view, left view, right view. You just press Control, and then 1 through 8 give you different viewings. Control 9 doesn't do anything, or Control 0. But Control 7, Control 8 are probably going to be the ones that you use the most. Let's talk about what this left panel here is for. So we have a feature manager tree, feature manager design tree. This is where we do all of the modeling. And then we have a property manager tree. I've hardly ever used this one. You're going to have a configuration manager tree. So if you have one part and you want to edit the part but save the original, then you can make a copy of the part and then you can edit that copy. And it'll save it as a different configuration. We can get, you get into this when you get into more advanced topics, I suppose. DIM Expert Manager, no idea what that is. Display Manager, change the colors of the different objects, I guess. CAM Feature Tree, never used it. CAM Operation Tree, never used it. CAM Tool Trees, never used it. So the main ones you're going to use are the Feature Manager Tree, Feature Manager Design Tree, and then your Configuration Manager Tree. I don't know if you can rearrange these or not. Anywho, after that, you're going to have your part. That's the name of the file that you're working in. You're going to have an equations folder. If you right click, then you can manage the equations, so show file properties, add edit parameters. The main thing you will get to eventually is editing the equations, and then you can set variables and features, and these will be added into equations, and you add the equations into your modeling. Get into that later. So let's go ahead, and for material, you right click, and then you can edit the material for your part, and we have various materials that you can select from. And you're not going to have these toolbars here either. If you want to add those, you go to your settings, customize, and then toolbars. Yeah, it's going to be here. So the dimensions relations toolbar is this one right here. So if I uncheck it, it disappears. If I check it, it comes back. I have that one set. And then motion manager. Yeah, that's for the motion studies down here. Simulation. I don't really use that one that much. The ones that I do use are the standard views and the, I believe task plane is the default one, along with the view. But if you wanted to add any others, if you use them more often, then you can just add those. Shortcuts bar, if you press S on your keyboard, this bar pops up, and then you can just add specific tools that you could then quickly access. Like for me, I have the measuring tool added in here, so I press S and then press this tool, and then it allows me to measure quickly instead of having to go to evaluate tab and then find the measurement tool. So it's just easy access from here. And then you just like go through all of these. You have view options if you want a specific view, sketch options, dimension relations. You can also set macros, assembly. This is specifically for like when you're in an assembly file or a drawing file, then you have different features that you can add to it. You can just go through all this and see if you end up using some more than others, then you can add those to here. Like the ones that I have added are the cross-section tool, the view planes, the normal to, the isometric view, your change transparency, and the measure tool. Those are the ones that I use the most. Alright, so now that we've gotten through all of those, let's go ahead and start drawing. So we go to a plane, either on the left hand side here from our feature manager tree, and then you click on it. You can right click on it, or just click, I don't know, yeah, there we go. And then you can press sketch, or what you can do is you can select the plane directly, and then you can press sketch from here. Once you do that, you're going to then be moved to the sketch tab, and then you can start drawing whatever kind of objects. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle, and then in the drop down menus you have different options for different types of rectangles. Same for lines, circles, splines. Gives you this short description. My description is kind of coming off the screen, going onto my second monitor, so can't read it. Then you have ellipses, you have 3-point arcs, so this allows you to define half a circle based off a center point, or the center of the circle, or make it tangent, or a 3-point arc, so you establish 3 points that you want to define your semicircle. And then you have your polygon, and then you have a straight slot, so you basically draw 2 lines, and then it makes a slot shape around it. Trim entities is going to be used if you want to get rid of one of the lines that you just made, or get rid of a few lines. So convert entities, we're not going to get into yet. Offset entities, that's all it does is you select one, and then it allows, this yellow line is going to show you the new sketch that it will make based off the parameter that you define. So if I want it to offset it, a sketch of this rectangle by 25 inches, then it'll pop up like that. And also forgot to mention that you defined your metric system down here at this bottom right corner. Either going to be in inch pound seconds, millimeters gram seconds, or meter kilogram seconds. The two that are mostly used are going to be millimeter gram second and inch pound second. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give it some dimensions. So what you can do is either you can select the Smart Dimension tool. This allows you to select an edge or a line that you have drawn, and then you can a dimension. You can measure it. So I want this side to be 4 inches long, and then I want the right hand side to be 2 inches long. Now, from here, it's best practice to have your planes your part file planes, so the front planes, the right plane, and the top plane, you want these to act at the center of your sketch. So that way your properties for the part will be acting at the centroid, because the centroid is at this point defined by the planes, not by the part. So I'm going to dimension this edge to this edge. You just select both of them, and then this would be 4 divided by 2, or you just type 2, doesn't matter. And then from the top edge to the top plane, this is going to be 1 inch. Alright, now that we have defined that, now our part planes here are acting at the center of the drawing, so we can go ahead and press the check mark. And then from there, what you're going to want to do is go to features, and then you could either extrude boss base, revolved boss base. You don't really get into these as much. You just use this extrude, revolved, and extrude cut or revolved cut. Hole wizard is kind of meant for like threads or specific tapped holes. You get into that like further down the line as you need it. Same for swept cuts, lofted cuts, and boundary cuts. Those are all very specific tools. You do use fillets a lot, and then these patterns and all these options here are kind of like you figure out what they are when you need them. Reference geometry is useful as well. You can make a reference plane, axis, coordinate system, or point. And then curves, I've never really used these. So let's go ahead and start with an extruded boss base. I'm going to select a line on the sketch that I want, and now it is going to show me a preview of what I want to extrude. From here, it'll give you an option to select where you want to extrude from. So if you want to extrude from the sketch plane, which we drew our sketch on the front plane, so it's going to extrude from there, a surface, face, or plane of another object, or if you want to extrude from a vertex on another object, or if you want to offset it from the sketch plane. So if I want to do offset, then I could do like 2 inches offset from the sketch plane, and then it'll start the extrusion from out here. And then you can change the direction of the offset using this button. What you could also do is, it's best practice to extrude from the center of your desired part. So instead of doing blind, what you mainly do is mid-plane. That way your front plane is acting in the middle of the part, and that way it keeps the centroid of your part at the centroid of the part file. From there, yeah, let's go ahead and extrude it 2 inches. Yeah, so we just get a nice little cube. Thin feature just kind of like hollows it out. You can change the direction of the thin feature. And then if you had more drawings in one sketch, or I guess they'd be called contours, like this, the rectangle I drew is a contour. If you had a rectangle here and then a circle over here, square over there, you would select different contours that you would want to extrude. So right now this sketch only has one contour. If you delete a feature being the extrusion, revolved, extrusion, or cuts, it keeps the drawing by default. So now if I want to use this drawing again, but do a revolved base, so now you just want to select your axis of rotation. So this entire rectangle is going to be revolved around this line that I chose to be my axis of rotation, or the center of the circle. If you want to clear it, you just right click on the name, clear selections, or delete, and then like let's say I wanted to do this line, and now we get a different shape. Or this line, yeah, it's just gonna same shape, but the center of the circle is gonna be different. Let's go ahead and do, I'm gonna just cancel it. And we're gonna go back to the extruded rectangle. It keeps the same parameters, so mid-plane, 2 inches. Alright, and from here, after I have established my first part, my first object within my part file, I'm gonna go ahead and disable the view planes, because then it's gonna get kind of messy. So back to my isometric view. from here, let's go ahead and do a couple of cuts from the object. I'm gonna start the sketch on the left face here, or you could start it like from one of the original axis planes. So starting on the left face, I'm gonna go ahead and sketch, and I'm gonna create 2 circular cuts. And you can kind of see how I get started arbitrarily over here, or if I kind of like hover over where the center is, this centroid, so it gives me this little line. I don't know if you can see it very well. That it just kind of snaps to it. You can see the white square with the line on it, so it's horizontally in line with the center of the rectangle. So if I draw one sketch circle like that, you can press Smart Dimension again, or you can hold your right click, and then you're going to get a wheel that comes up the moment you move your mouse, and then you can select any of the default tools that you have. I have these customized as well, so I'm going to select the Smart Dimension tool like that, and then I'm just going to say I want it to be 1 inch. If you want to customize those options for the wheel, then you come over here, go to mouse gestures, and then you can select which specific features you want for the sketch, part, assembly, or drawing. But I don't need that right now. So I have this circle, and then I'm going to draw another circle, make it a little bit smaller, and then I want it to be 0.5 inch. Now I want these 2 circles to be specific distance from each other. Let's go ahead and make it 1.5 inches. Oops. And then I want the distance from this circle to this circle to be 0.5 inches. What does that look like? Nah. That's just 1.5 divided by 2. Okay. So now we have 2 sketches, or 2 contours on this sketch that is on this face. As you can see, that's where the sketches are being drawn, on the face, not like in the middle. Go ahead and press check. Check mark again on the right side to exit the sketch. And now with the sketch highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and do extruded cut. And then from here we get a couple options. If you want to sketch from the sketch plane, or if you want to offset the sketch by 1/4 of an inch. So it's going to start the cut on the outside of the material, and then it's only going to go up to 2 inches from this starting point on the left side. So it won't go all the way through. You could also offset the other direction, so the cut won't start on this plane, and it'll start halfway, or like 0.25 inches into the material, and then come out this way. You'd also drag this to like do it manually, but it gets very iffy when you need a specific number. Another thing you can do, so you have blind, you can do through all, and what will happen is it'll go through both sides, or that's what through all both should do. You can do up to next, up to vertex. So up to vertex is like you just pick a line, or this line, and then the cut will go up to where this vertex lies on that plane. You can do up to surface, so just click the surface that you want the cut to go through, and it'll go through that one. You can do offset from surface instead, so with this surface selected, if I want it to be 0.5 inches from that surface, then it stops right there. Mid-plane, just kind of same as the extrusion feature, you're cutting from the sketch plane, which is acting as the mid-plane. But we're just going to go ahead and do through all, so that way it goes through the entire material. If you wanted to, you could also flip side to cut, so if you wanted to only keep the material that was drawn inside of the contour, each circle, you press flip side to cut, and then it'll cut everything on the outside of these circles. So that'll look like this. You're going to press OK because you want it to happen to all bodies, and that's how it looks like this. Or edit feature, and I don't want to flip side to cut. Now we just cut out the circles from the object, our prism. And I think that's it, pretty much. If you want to go back and edit specific, oh, let's say I wanted to go back and change the dimension on the prism. what you want to do is select the boss extrude 2, or the feature, or you can do the drop down menu and select the sketch itself, and then you can press edit sketch plane, or edit sketch, there or here. Once you do that, let's say I want this to be 6 inches, and I want this one to be 3 inches. Click the check mark, and now it changed the dimension of the prism. And if I really wanted to as well, in case you messed up like early on, you can select the sketch and change the sketch plane. So the original plane that you drew the sketch on, let's say I wanted to change it to the right plane. I press check, continue and ignore, close. Now it changes it to the right plane. However, there was an error. It says it contains a dimension or relations to model. What you can do there is just press edit sketch. Now this one is like highlighted in like a dark green, like ugly green color, and it's just saying that when you initially made the sketch, you referenced this edge with what was the right plane, but now it's no longer, it can no longer reference this right plane. So what we want to do is now reference the front plane with respect to this dimension. What you can do is you can just delete this one, and then you could reestablish it by selecting this edge and the front plane, and then 2 inches. Press OK, and there we go. Now we have a perfectly no error part file, except we now change the orientation of it. And that's pretty much all you need to get started. After that, you just start working on some problems, figure things out, and yeah, that's it.